It's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right now. Candace Parker just said what every Caitlin Clark fan has been screaming all season. And it's exactly what the WNBA's old guard didn't want to hear. And the league, especially the commissioner, needs to listen up. Because while we hoped a new season would bring a fresh attitude toward Caitlin and her fans, it's only gotten worse. The jealousy louder, the bitterness deeper, the double standards clearer than ever. But Candace, a WNBA legend, just stepped in and made them all look foolish. It's simple common sense truth. The kind of statements that cut through the noise and put the whole situation in perspective. Maybe now they'll finally stop and think. Because if this season has shown us anything, it's this. The more Caitlin wins, the louder and more self-destructive the league gets. Let's break down what Candace said because it might just be the calmest but biggest clapback against Caitlin Clark haters and the WNBA's old guard. But first, like this video. Every like equals one tissue for the haters. They're going to need it after what Candace said. And don't forget to subscribe for more Caitlin Clark and Fever updates. Okay, so why is Candace speaking up now and why does it matter? Well, here's the main reason. Out of women's basketball for a horrible team when she arrived outside of LeBron and Steph. She is the most well-known basketball player currently playing in the United States. Oh yes, and I don't think that's close. The WNBA is experiencing insane growth right now, and it's all because of Caitlin Clark. It's the worst kept secret in sports. Caitlin Clark isn't just the most popular player in WNBA history. She's likely the most popular athlete in America. Period. We all know the numbers from last season. A historic spike in TV ratings, a surge in ticket sales, merch flying off the shelves. Every measurable metric pointed to one undeniable truth. Caitlin moves the needle like no one else. And this year, she's already outpacing it. Sold-out arenas, record-breaking viewership. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't slowing down. It's getting bigger. It is the second highest viewership, which is like average viewership. However, it was the highest peak of any game ever on CBS. Fans are tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark and the Fever in record numbers this season. It began with 3 million viewers for a preseason exhibition game against Brazil. Let that sink in. A preseason game pulled numbers most regular season games dream of. Then came the season opener. 2. 7 million average viewers against the Sky. The most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years. And just recently, a peak of 3. 3 million tuned in to watch her battle the Liberty. But then she got injured and everything changed fast. And now that Caitlin Clark is injured, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades. Ticket prices for Fever games without Caitlin plummeted 300%. And while Fever fans have held their own in TV ratings, I'll get to that in a few minutes, the rest of the league lagged way behind. This should be a wake-up call for everyone. Players, coaches, the front office, the league itself. Caitlin Clark is projected to generate over $1 billion in revenue for the WNBA this year alone. And that means one thing. The WNBA is one serious Caitlin Clark injury away from losing all its momentum. So those CBA dollars Angel Ree thinks are coming, that new deal Nafisa Collier swears the players have leverage for, I know you think you've got the upper hand, but without Caitlin, forget about it. And yet somehow, the league keeps shooting itself in the foot. Instead of embracing the obvious truth about who's fueling this growth, they twist themselves into knots, pretending it's something else. Rather than celebrating the gains, they keep dragging the conversation toward everything but basketball. The loudest mics, like I stated, are the ones that's race baiting. Not even bringing up the names, but all the people that I'm seeing that are tied within the WNBA media, coaches, all type of things. They are very resentful of Caitlin Clark, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense when you have somebody that's doing what she's doing for the WNBA. I mean, we're only a few games into the season, and it's already been facepalm after facepalm in terms of how Caitlin and her fans have been treated. It took just one game for the chaos to start. After the opener against the Sky, the league launched an investigation into alleged hate speech based on what amounted to nothing. But the damage was already done. Instead of celebrating an incredible debut and a record-breaking moment for the league, the headlines were hijacked. The story wasn't about basketball. It was about controversy. And once again, Caitlin Clark and her fans were dragged into a narrative that had nothing to do with what actually happened on the court. Even though it's 100% false by acknowledging we don't condone hate and not seeing that this was an internet rumor founded of complete, you're lending credence to this. There was none of that. Out of that mess came the narrative that Indianapolis wasn't safe for players and that Caitlin Clark's fan base were hateful. People were actually calling for the All-Star game to be moved. Others were demanding that Dave Portnoy be banned from arenas for heckling Angel Reese. Meanwhile, the league has stayed completely silent about the very real hate being directed at Caitlin and the Fever. No statements, no support, nothing. We've gone way out of bounds. The things being said about the Fever players, especially Caitlin, went far beyond just basketball. They weren't just criticisms of her game or her popularity. They were hateful and threatening. The kind of stuff that's being said to them, the stuff that's being said to Kelsey Mitchell, the kind of things that are being said to Natasha Howard are actually wild. People have taken a photo of these women and circled a bullseye on them, and have said, "It's on site when I see you." Those are actual threats. These weren't just rude comments, they were legitimate threats. The kind of personal targeted attacks you'd expect the league, especially one that constantly touts its stance on hate and inclusion to at least condemn. But instead, crickets. No statement, no defense, no support, and it only got worse. Now we've reached the point where fans on X are actually accusing Caitlin of using her assistant coach's baby as a prop. Caitlin Clark is getting some of the grossest, most morbid comments, racist, hateful. We're talking the cup runneth over with hate here. Kathy Engelberg, you're no space for hate. Where are you right now? That's right. They're attacking Caitlin for holding a baby. That's the level of discourse we're dealing with. It's gone from criticism to conspiracy, and the league still has nothing to say. So the hate toward Caitlin and her fans, it's gone absolutely nowhere. If anything, it's only intensified. And even with all the numbers, all the sold-out games, all the record-breaking viewership, there's still resistance to acknowledging her impact. And it starts at the top. Kathy Engelbert in this long, drawn-out article goes on and gives herself credit for why the WNBA has finally entered some type of mainstream conversation. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert even wrote a piece for the Harvard Business Review, where she essentially bent over backwards to take credit, and to spread that credit to everyone, but the person actually driving the league's success. Coaches, players, marketing teams, front office strategy, you name it. She mentioned it. Everyone got a pat on the back, but there was virtually zero emphasis on Caitlin Clark. To new followers and outside observers, our organization's success might seem overnight, and even lucky, prepared by singularly exceptional group of college players coming into the WNBA. However, we could not have capitalized on those advantages without years of hard work and preparation. Years of hard work and preparation. It might have seemed like it came overnight. She seriously diluted Caitlin's impact more than a McDonald's fountain Coke. In the article, Engelbert lumped Caitlin Clark in with Angel Reese and Cameron Brink, writing that as these rookies entered the league, regular season games drew an average of 2 million viewers, up 170% from the previous season. But I know it, and your dog knows it. It was Caitlin's games that averaged 2 million viewers. Yet because the old guard cannot stand that Caitlin is getting all the credit, there's a constant scramble to hand out gold stars to anyone but her. They just can't not even wrap their head around. They can't just accept, okay, this person is more popular than me, or this person is more popular than the player that we want to push. It's one thing to be jealous. That's human. But what we're seeing goes beyond that. For some reason, there's this need to knock Caitlin down just to feel lifted up. And in way too many cases, people go straight to racism as the explanation for why she's getting all the attention. As if it has nothing to do with the fact that she shattered 62 WNBA records, became a first-team All-Star, ranked 4th in MVP voting, and dragged a bottom-dwelling team into the playoffs in her first year. It's wild because whether they want to admit it or not, what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the table is creating a better situation for everyone. When the spotlight is on her, it doesn't just stop there. It shines on the entire league. When they play in these arenas where there are 15 to 20,000 people in the stands, they are in front of people that they haven't been in front of before. That is an opportunity for all of us fans to get to know all the players on the court, all of the players in the WNBA, to pick new favorite players, to pick other teams that we want to follow along. We've already had legends speak up about this. People who've actually built this league and understand what's at stake. Lisa Leslie, a Hall of Famer and one of the most respected voices in women's basketball. Basically, Mike dropped the entire WNBA when she called out the jealousy surrounding Caitlin Clark. I think it's all about money marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect called the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes. Have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So, if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way? Because she has more television games. But still, the pushback continues. The league once again needed some sense knocked into it. And it seems like that reality check can only come from the old guard, the legends who actually understand how rare this moment is. Well, Candace Parker is as old guard as it gets. A 3-time WNBA champion, a 2-time league MVP, and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She's one of the most decorated, respected, and intelligent players the WNBA has ever seen. And this week, she joined Stephen A. Smith on First Take to do what almost no one else in the league has had the courage to do: address the elephant in the room. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that there were an abundance of women in the WNBA doing tremendous work on behalf of the WNBA and the game of basketball, and you just sense that folks were feeling an absence of appreciation. Now, Stephen A. Smith, credit where it's due, hasn't been afraid to call it like it is. He's one of the few mainstream voices willing to actually say the word jealousy. He's seen it. Fans have seen it. Everyone watching the WNBA right now can feel it. And on First Take, he dropped a logic bomb on Nefa Collier, who had expressed frustration over Caitlin getting more nationally televised games. But then this dude named Michael Jordan came along, and he wasn't yet winning championships, but his popularity was so astronomical that the NBA practically marketed everything they could around this guy. So to know that there's an example like that as a shining example to be followed that could benefit the league, particularly down the road, why is that an issue when we've seen that such a marketing plan has worked in the past? So this wasn't some softball interview. This wasn't an environment where there wouldn't be pushback, no dodging, no fluff, just straight to the heart of the issue. Can you speak to that collective frustration that some may have been feeling, and whether or not you think it's something that's being overcome as you all thrive and move forward in continuing to promote and uplift this league? But what we got from Candace was one of the most measured, thoughtful, and logical responses yet. The kind of answer that made Caitlin Clark fans everywhere say, exactly. You know, it's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right now. My job was to leave the game better than I came into it. You think Cheryl Miller is resentful for me that I had a league to play in? No. She's being the mentor that she is. And she's supporting and loving and sitting courtside cheering on Juju Watkins. And I'm doing the same for Caitlin Clark and all the women in the WNBA. This was a Picasso of logic, a masterpiece in perspective, and there's more to come. But first, did you catch it? Candace said she gets asked so many times if she's resentful of Caitlin Clark. That one line says everything about how deep the jealousy runs in the WNBA. Think about that. Media, players, insiders are going to one of the most decorated athletes in league history and asking if she's jealous of Caitlin Clark. It tells you everything you need to know. But Candace gave the right answer, the one that should be the standard. She said, it's not about being jealous of who's next. It's about getting the game to a place where it's ready for the next star. You don't have to downplay Caitlin. You don't have to act like her success is some fluke or ignore the fact that she's lightning in a bottle. Instead, be proud that you built the platform and then support her because, get this, it's good for everyone. And Candace wasn't done. She didn't say it word for word, but she made it clear. She was calling out all the noise, especially the race-based talking points that have been quietly and sometimes not so quietly undermining Caitlin's rise. You know, I tuned in when Kevin Durant went back and played Russell Westbrook and they bumped shoulders and everybody was tuned in. But I want to keep it within the lines of the game, and I think that's what's the most important. Now, everybody has a Twitter finger. Everybody can have reach to, the WNBA and make comments, but really the key is let's keep it about basketball. That's my thing. And when we do that, then we're able to really grow the game and what it represents. You hear that? WNBA, you hear that, Twitter haters, keep it about basketball, because all these race-based takes, they're not helping the game grow. They're not building anything. That they're just drawing attention to the WNBA in the worst possible way, as a league tearing itself apart from the inside, unable to celebrate its biggest moment without turning it into a culture war. They want to paint the narrative that it's a white and black thing going on. And now that toxic energy is spilling over to people who don't even watch the games, so now they feel like they are a part of the league just because they know or feel like they know what's going on with the race thing. Like, cut it out, man. You all want the league to grow, but you all saying keep it about basketball, but y'all not keeping it about basketball. I don't get it. All Caitlin Clark has done is go out there, put on a show, and give the fans exactly what they came to see. And in doing so, she's grown the game in a way the WNBA has never seen before. None of what she's done has ever been about color. There's been no hate, no disrespect toward other players, the fans, or the legends who came before her. In fact, she's been nothing but respectful, constantly giving credit to the players who paved the way, shouting out her teammates, praising the competition, and showing genuine humility every step of the way. She's not tearing anyone down. She's lifting the entire sport up. Just listen to what Lisa Leslie had to say about her respect for the game's legends. And I love that. I love that. She's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. This isn't coming from some outsider. This is coming from an OG who helped build the WNBA. And now Candace Parker is echoing the mindset that every player should have. Leave the game better than you found it. So that players like Caitlin can carry the torch just like she once did. That's how this works. Just like Bird and Magic led to Jordan, who led to Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, and now Luka and SGA. Each generation pushes the game forward so the next one can shine even brighter. But now, because of visibility, listen, I still know the Dominique Wilkins. I still know, all of those players, the Dr. J's and all that stuff. I don't think they're not salty that MJ came along and grew the game. I mean, that's what it is. And finally, Candace touches on why the league needs to clean up its act, because this moment is not just about Caitlin Clark. It's about the future of the league. The WNBA as a whole is in an amazing place. Now it's about business to me. At the end of the day, it's about business, and Candace knows it. Caitlin Clark isn't just great for highlight reels. She's incredible for business. If you have a good product and your biggest hurdle is getting people to sample the product, she's a godsend. There's no denying it. If they think they have the leverage going into the next CBA without Caitlin Clark, they just got a rude awakening with her injury. But remember how I said the Fever fans were holding their own? That's important in all of this. Check this out. The Indiana Fever's matchup on Friday versus the Sun drew 851,000